Hi, welcome back to Fekete Fantasies. It's been, again, so much longer than I'd wanted before posting another video, so I thought today, in the small window of time that I had in the middle of the day, I would just take the opportunity and post something to give you a little bit of an update as to where I am and what I'm up to. First of all, I want to say, if you're here in Montreal, you're probably enjoying this glorious day. The sun is out, it's like 6 degrees, low humidity, almost no wind. It's an amazing day. Spring is on its way and it's coming really early, which is probably not great in terms of what it means for the global climate kind of situation, but I gotta say I'm really enjoying this beautiful day, and that is why I decided to put on my crown, my flower crown, to celebrate this amazing transition into kinder, milder, more welcoming days. The first thing I want to talk about, I want to give you a little bit of an update as to where I am at with the audio recording. The last few weeks it's been slow. I got sick, and then I've been busier than before in terms of work. What I'm doing now the way I'm earning money right now is through teaching English and French lessons. So I've been busier than I was before. So it's left me less time, less brain space, less energy to put into the audio book work, on top of being sick. But now I'm getting my energy back, so I'm kind of getting back into the swing. I did post a couple of weeks ago, and I know some of you have watched it, or listened to it rather. I did post a poem that I read with the mic that I showed you in my sound booth last time. And what I actually hope to do with that is, first of all, I wanted you to hear the quality of the mic. So the quality is actually not bad. Now, one of the problems with that recording is that you can hear mouth noises, or what's otherwise known as mouth clicks. So it's when we speak, sometimes the saliva and whatever goes on in our mouths, you can kind of hear it, and that's not very nice to listen to. There actually is a plugin that you can buy that is incredible, that takes out all those mouth noises. So what I'm hoping to do is post another version of either that poem or perhaps something else, where you get to compare the before and after of, the before mouth noise, mouth click remover, and the after. Now the trick is that plugin costs like $300 or something. So basically my next step, and what I hope to accomplish this week, is to do some research, see if there's a cheaper version, or see if there's something that I can do to get rid of those mouth noises, without having to pay $300. So I'll keep you updated on that. That's this week's mission. And other than that, what I really wanted to do with you, I actually wanted to talk a little bit about play, for a few different reasons. One of the reasons is that as I took you for a tour of my studio the last time, I didn't mention it. There was one story I didn't tell, and that is the role that the idea of play, or more the action of play, played in my making of my studio. And I don't want to speak for too long today, so I'm not going to go into the details of the studio, but basically one of the turning points in when I was kind of visualizing, conceptualizing how I could put a studio together, one of the really turning moments was this time that I thought, wow, all I really need to do is make an elaborate blanket fort. For me, when I was growing up, I had older brothers and sisters, and when they came home to visit, they would make blanket forts, and I absolutely loved it. And last year, I had my dear neighbor and friend Karine, who has a small daughter whose name is Rosalie, who was about 3.5 years old, last summer, and she would come over to my place once a week to sleep over. And sometimes we would make blanket forts, because I thought, well, my childhood would not have been complete without a blanket fort, so I felt it was my duty to pass on that ritual or that tradition as I saw it. So I decided to make blanket forts with her, and that was such a helpful thing. I was just like, thinking about the studio. I was like, wow, all I have to do is do what I do with Rosalie, take all my blankets, take whatever fabrics I have, and create like just a bigger blanket fort with a very specific purpose. And that's basically what I did. I didn't take blankets so much, I used more curtains, as you saw. And the reason I say that is because play is something we don't necessarily give a lot of time to, or we have come up with this idea of play that sometimes appears to be more work than play. And I've thought a bit about it over the past days, like what is exactly the difference between work and play? Because sometimes they really overlap, or maybe you would say that they're two sides to the same coin. But I think for me, play is something that you do just for the hell of it, with no purpose, no intention. It's something that draws you in, that you're curious about, that you want to explore, and it leads you somewhere that you never expected. So before ending my video today, I wanted to share with you a couple of things that I thought related to this idea of play in my life, things that really have no practical purpose. They contribute in no way to productivity, but I feel greatly enrich my life. The first thing I want to show you is this beautiful fabric that I have behind me, which I want to mention my friend Melissa, whose name I should have mentioned in my last video, because she was the magical force to whom I read the animal card, who had sent me the website that got me thinking about the audiobook reading, who spotted the beautiful orange fabric in my studio. And so she took me and another friend of ours, Sada, to a thrift shop where my eyes fell upon this gorgeous sequence fabric that I could not leave behind, because truly, if Fekete Fantasies could be materialized or manifested in physical form, it would be a sequence fabric just like this and just with these colors. And so when I got home, I was holding this fabric in my hands and I was looking at it and I was like, what do I do with this? Because I could fold it up and I could put it in the drawer, but that just felt really wrong. So I decided I had to find a way to use it immediately, and it turned into this like amazing canopy bed, which makes me feel very special, and it's my little nook where I can hide away when the going gets rough, or when the world is just too crazy, and I can just, you know, have a great time and just stay cozy and enjoy. So I wanted to share that with you. Whoop. Now, the next thing is related to my flower crown, because this started at the end of 2019. I started making crowns for no good reason. It was kind of like a joke between a friend of mine and I. This friend, I don't know, something in our conversations made me realize, wow, I really need to make a crown for you. I ended up making 2, and then that led me to making other crowns. And this was the last one I made, and I made this one because I've always wanted to have a proper flower crown, and I've tried so many times as a child, as a teen, as an adult, to, you know, gather a bunch of flowers, a bunch of daisies, and make a proper flower crown. And I've never learned how to do that properly, because as soon as you pluck the flower begins to wilt. So basically you're trying to like braid together these stems of flowers that are already going limp, and then you put like a whole bunch of dying flowers on your head, and then they just kind of like all fall apart, and it's just depressing, and it's so yeah, it just puts me into a state of despair every time. So since I was on this like crown making kick, I realized, oh my goodness, I just need to make a flower crown that is good forever and for always, and I don't have to kill any flowers, and I don't have to put any dead flowers on my head, and that's how I came up with this one. And I'm quite proud of it, I have to say. I think if I made another one, I would be able to. Oh, looks like I have a crazy, looks like a crazy eyebrow there. Let's see if I can fix that. I might look a little less evil now. So if I made another one, I think it would be a little bit better, and I have lots of ideas of how I could make crowns, but I love this. So I'm going to show you the other crowns that I've made, and they are not flower crowns. They are more kind of like kings and queen crowns, though I don't really have much interest in kings and queens. But the crowns are really fun to wear. So let me remove my flower crown and do some show and tell. And as I do so, I would like to point out that I've made all of these crowns with kind of recycled materials, or you could even say garbage. So this is the first crown that I made. This was kind of like a coffee tin. Not a tin, it was, I don't know what it was. I think it's something that held coffee grounds. It wasn't mine. I inherited a bunch of garbage from a friend of mine who had been doing casual work in the corporate sector. And I don't know if you know this or not, but the corporate sector, they throw into the garbage huge quantities of great stuff. Now this was like legit garbage, you could say. It was just this big round container, and I suppose it's a normal thing you'd throw into the garbage. But I mean, they were throwing away things like pristine pads of paper, folders, wooden file holders and wooden pencil holders and mugs and all sorts of great stuff that for sure they could have either resold or given away to people who would have made great use of it. It was just shocking. So my friend Joanne, hi Joanne, who you know, is socially and environmentally conscious, she was gathering up all this garbage in the hopes of, you know, passing it on to people who could make use of it. And because I don't like throwing things out, I just took a whole bunch of it, even the legit garbage. And so when I had this idea to make crowns, well, I had a place to look, my own personal garbage collection. And so I grabbed this coffee ground thing, I cut it up, and then these beads things, they were actually all broken earrings. I had bought some nice earrings, but they like broke within a few weeks, and luckily I'd kept, you know, the nice parts, and I was able to stick them onto this crown and paint it and all that kind of stuff. So this is my very first crown. It was a great start. And then what I got to do next was I took I don't know if you know these cookie tins. They're usually dark blue, and they're these like Danish shortbread cookies. They're crunchy and everything like that. Well, I had one, that was one of the things I had inherited with the load of garbage that Joanne gave me. And I turned it into this. Check it out. My head's a bit too small for it. It's a good king's crown, I think. I think it would be great in a play or in an opera or something. Whatever. Yeah, basically what I did was I took the bottom off of the tin, and I had to kind of twist it around the other way so you get the metal part, not the part which has pictures of cookies on it and things like that. This should be the back, actually. There we go, like this. And I had these are from a bracelet I had where the I guess the elastic had broken, and I had all these beautiful beads just all over the place. So I kept the beads. I had them for years. And so when I took this tin and I thought of making a crown, I was able to use these beads. I got some wire, and I was able to like kind of poke holes and thread them in. And then this was like a kind of like a, not, it wasn't a ribbon, but I have a collection of ribbons and strings and things like that that sometimes you get with gifts. And this fit perfectly because it was that nice silver color. And then I sawed little, what do you call it? I sawed a little bit in different parts of the top of the crown and kind of like pulled it out to give it that tapering out that gives an extra crown-like flavor, if I could say. And yeah, so that's my king's crown. If you would like to hire it for an event, just let me know. It'll be $50 an hour. I'm just kidding. There you go. So that's my king's crown. I have one more crown to show you, which was made from the same coffee ground kind of container that the first crown was made out of, and this is a crown for the Queen of Hearts. So this is my Queen of Hearts crown, which yeah, I don't know if you can see that so well. I'll have to like, yeah, check that out. I mean, I'm quite proud of this, I have to say. This one is a bit more delicate. I've traveled with it a couple of times, and so sometimes I have some renegade hearts that pop off and go in all sorts of directions. And you have to find a way to kind of like affix it to your head so it doesn't fall over. But I quite like it. So again, if you want to dress up as the Queen of Hearts for Halloween, and you would like to hire a crown, just call Fekete Fantasies Crown Services, and there you go. You'll have a crown for your costume. So I'm going to put my flower crown back on because it's just so fitting for this beautiful day. One of my nicknames is La Reine de Terre-Neuve, which translates into the Queen of Newfoundland, and I actually have a throne in Newfoundland on Topsail Bluff at the top of Topsail. For those of you who have been with me in Newfoundland, you most assuredly have seen my throne. I've never worn a crown on my throne. So when I go back to Newfoundland, which should be very soon because I haven't been back for 6 years and it's been way too long and it's haunting me, I will return to my since unoccupied throne wearing a crown and looking over my, I'll call it queendom. So there you go. There's my low-key manifesto for play and doing things that are not productive and that are absolutely useless, so that you can end up with a bunch of crowns, invite people over, give them a crown to wear so you can have some tea or have, you know, a conversation or whatever, and believe me, it'll feel great. So that's all I have for you today. I will keep you posted on my next steps with, you know, this mouth clicker thing with the audio recording, and I'm hoping to make some good progress with that soon. Have a great day, and thank you so much for watching. Cheerio!